sound. And Sarah on cello. And Dan on piano. And of course, all the holy ladies. Sam, Susan. Okay. Well, it's almost kind of, sort of, maybe still a new year. And what I like most is the promise of this time. The beginning of a year has that special kind of shine as we write your resolutions, which come from your higher self. You seem to pick them up and dust them off the shelf. Oh, it's so exciting as we grab your pen and write our visions and then begin. Number 1, lose 10 pounds. Ooh, I like how that sounds. Number 2, eat healthy food. That will put you in a better mood. Number 3, exercise. Good for you, that's very wise. Number 4, be a more loving person. That's good for certain. Number 5, give. All right, that's the way to live. Number 6, clean the garage and organize. Again, very wise. Number 7, finish that book you're writing. Ooh, that's very exciting. Number 8, get that promotion. Yes, I second that motion. Number 9, commit to my spirituality. Ooh, that's heavenly. 9, that's all I wrote. And let me be clear so everyone understands. I literally wrote those things, you see. I am your hands. But I have found the most curious thing to be true. What your higher self intends, I often don't do. And what I do becomes your reality. You can think all you want, but it comes down to what you do with me. Your destiny is always in your hands. You can vision, dream, and even use me to write your grandiose plans. But what you do with me, I guarantee, is what will be. This is the hard, cold, beautiful, and misunderstood reality. I am a truly first witness to everything you do. The completion of a dream or the lack of follow-through. Without me, big ideas would be nothing but useless chatter. That 5 pounds you carry in your head would be a gray matter. For I am your thoughts. Extension. I translate them into the physical dimension. Yes, me with my incredible opposing thumb give you the tools to dream and become. And there's nothing like my profound dexterity to take your ideas and make them into a reality. But what drives me nervously tapping upon your knee is when I do things that aren't in the best interest of the one attached to me. For very often what I do and your soul are at odds, and I want what's best for you. Because in the end, all hands are God's. Oh boy. Here we go. You're taking me shopping. I hope you remember those 10 pounds you're dropping. You say, I love you to your teens. Somehow it doesn't mean much. If you would just use me to give meaning to your words, reach out and touch. Oh, you missed the moment. Can't you see that actions speak louder than words? And most actions begin with me. Don't you know your connection is slipping through your hands? And that using me to speak the truth opens the heart of every woman, child, and man. Okay, well, now we're approaching the grocery store, entering through the door. What's this? You're using me to grab potato chips? Can't you see that to grab those completely contradicts at least 2 things on your list? If you were just aware of what you do with me, I could get you there. Oh, now whole milk, really? Get skim or at least 2%? Don't you know that grabbing that someday you will resent? Okay, that's it. You have forced my hand. I'm going to make you pursue what your higher self planned. You see, before entering this world, before you became mine, there's a certain contract that all hands had to sign. Being God's hands and all, we're supposed to let you discover that how you use us is the secret you're here to uncover. That you have the power in your hands to create any miracles when you allow your hands to do the work in conjunction with your souls. But there is a clause in the contract. Under extreme condition, we are allowed to take destiny into our hands. We have permission. For one day, we can turn over our power directly to your soul. We override the ego's impulse and let God take control. It's really quite funny. It's entertaining and amazing to see how many things you try to do against your own vision, against your very soul, against your destiny. What's this? A box of Captain Crunch. Your ego feels it coming in a kind of hunch. Sorry, we're going to put that back where you got it, back on the stand. We struggle for a while in the aisle, but of course I have the upper hand. As people watch us shake and jiggle, clinging to that sugar cereal, instead I grab some oatmeal. We wrestle and put it in the cart. Someday you will thank your hand, for it will save your heart. This goes on for 47 minutes down almost every aisle, twitching and struggling against your soul, but resistance today is futile. As you leave the store, there's a Salvation Army guy asking to give. Remember you said that's how you want to live. I reach into your pocket, there's a $20 bill. I give it to the guy to his amazement and thrill. You're so shocked you actually try to take it back. So you force my hand once again, your face, I had decided. You get home with bags of soulful food and open the door, and there are your teens. And this time, like before, you say, I love you, bless you. But this time, you place your hand on their shoulder. Something you stopped doing when they got older. As they try to hold back a tear, escapes from their eyes, I force your hand to wipe the tear. Gentle pressure I apply. Let's make dinner, they say, confused by this behavioral change. At first, when one's hands are controlled by the soul, the motion does seem strange. With dinner on the table, you reach for the food. It's a habit, a kind of condition. I force you to put the bread down and put your hands in the prayer position. Your teens look at you, confused. Then they join in saying grace. You say a few words and suddenly you feel the peace in this place. After dinner, you grab the remote. You seem to have forgotten about the garage. Number 6 on your list, organize and clean up the garbage. Every time you reach for the remote, I have to slap your face to get you back on task, to organize the space. But as you start to do the work, you feel energized. When your hands do the work of the soul, your being comes alive. There's so much more left on your list, and much more than that, of course. But there is no end to what you can become when your hands move with the source. There is no end. Now it's morning. My time is up. The contract is very clear. Only one day of soulful control. Then it's up to you from there. The hope, of course, is that in that time you recognize the power. That new habits are formed. That your hands move with intention every day and every hour. When you awoke the very next day, I knew there was hope for you, because before your teens walked out the door for school, you said, I love you. But more than that, I know you have much bigger plans, because as you said those words, you took their faces gently in your hands. It's true, I don't know if any of you have seen my younger son CJ for a while, but he's 6'4". And I used to reach down and put his face in my hands and tell him that I love him. Now I reach up. So my son had his hand, the platelets in his hand checked, and they say he's going to be 6'9". So But I do, as he's 16 years old, I still do take my hands on his face. Tell him that I love him. In the summer of 1973, I was in 3rd grade, and my older brother was in 6th grade, and I lived near Detroit, Michigan, in a place called Birmingham, Michigan. And in the backyard, we had this creek that ran through the backyard. It was like maybe 20 to 30 feet wide in most spots. It ran about ankle deep to knee deep, and we went frogging and crawdadding, and there were giant turtles in there, and we just had a blast in this creek. Well, in the springtime in Detroit, all the snow melts, and that creek would become a raging river. And then it would overflow, and along that river, there were sustaining walls made of cement that they would pour to help keep it from wearing away the wall of the river when these floods came. Well, anyway, springtime came, the snow melted, and it not only went above that wall, it spread out into the field behind our house. And all of a sudden, we had a giant lake. So it became 50 yards to 100 yards wide. Just a giant lake that we could play in and swim in and run around in. But the middle of it, you could see the current. You could see this raging river running right through the middle. And it was raging. But everywhere else, it was just this still, slow-moving river, or even like a lake. And so we would go down and play, and you can imagine the fun. I mean, I was in 3rd grade, he was in 6th grade. So in the field, it would only be like up to your knee, or maybe up to here. And then the river had this big drop-off. So we'd be playing around, and one day, me and my older brother, we decided to play a game. Now remember, we were in 3rd grade and 6th grade, we're boys. So between the two of us, we had the intelligence of maybe a turnip. So we had this idea, on a good day, a tomato. So we had this idea that we would play a game to see which one of us could get closest to the river without falling in. Remember, we were boys, 3rd, 6th grade, average intelligence of a household daily appliance. So there we are, walking through the water, and I'm in front. So I'm beating my older brother. What more could you want? So I'm in front, I'm getting closer. Now we had a rope swing that had a tire on it, and I got near that rope swing, so I knew we were getting close to the edge of the river. But you couldn't tell where exactly it was, but you could see this raging current out in front of me. And I thought, my brother's a few steps behind me. I thought, I can take one more step. So I took this one final step.
Oh.
And I disappeared into the river, and it was black, dark chocolate black water, and I couldn't see a thing. And I felt my legs get sucked into this current, pulling me out. I came up, and there in front of me was a metal bar out in front of me, so I reached out with my hand, and I grabbed the hold for my life. So now I'm holding onto this metal bar. It was a part of the lath. A lath is like a matrix of metal that they use to pour cement, right? Well, in some areas, the cement had worn away. And so the reason I fell in is because the cement had worn away there, and along the river was like this, but the cement wore away, and so that water was wearing away at the ground, so it came in like this. So I fell into a little eddy above my head, then I got sucked in. But that lath, that piece of metal, was still sticking out into the water, so I grabbed that thing and I held on. The current was so fast that my body was on top of the water skimming, like this. My face in the current, water coming in. I'll never forget the feeling of my stomach filling as I tried not to get it into my lungs. I kept swallowing, filling my stomach, then I got in my lungs. I was coughing, holding on for my life. Then my brother, he saw where I fell in. It was like it was an eddy. So he came up, and I'm out there hanging on, getting pulled down. And by the way, just maybe a few yards down, the river made a hard left corner. That was all trees and logs. And I probably, most likely, would have got pushed right under those logs and drowned. So my brother crawled into that eddy spot where I fell in. Now the water's about up to here on him. He begins to reach for the tire that's hooked to the rope swing, which usually is 2 feet off the ground or so, but now it's touching the water and it's moving a little bit. He's reaching for it, and so his hand's reaching for this tire. It's about here, and it's swaying back and forth as the very bottom touches the water. He keeps reaching, but it won't come, Now this is the first of 2 miracles that happened in that moment. I'm in the water, and I can just see his hand. I can see what he's doing. I can just barely make it out. His water's hitting me in the face and everything, and I'm thinking, God, please help him get that tire, help him get that tire, help him get that tire. My brother's reaching. Now, it just kept coming about this close. Now it became that moment in Star Wars. Remember when Luke Skywalker reached for that lightsaber? That's what it was like. All of a sudden, as my brother was reaching, miracle number 1, that tire, I saw this happen. The tire was going like this, his hand was here. All of a sudden the tire went, and he grabbed it. So my brother's got now he's got his hand on a tire on a rope swing. He's reaching for me like this. And I'm bouncing on the water out there. And he reaches for me and he says, "You're going to have to let go and take my hand." So the metaphor of hand and literal hand is such a part of our culture. We realize it or recognize it. But that moment is such a metaphor for all of our lives, because that bar represented what had saved my life first, but now it was killing me. If I wasn't able to let go of what saved my life, I wasn't able to let go of what was my good, but had become the enemy of my better, I would probably die. And so what we cling to in the past, what worked for us for a while, there comes a time to let go. It's not working anymore. It's not serving us anymore. And that can be our thinking process, the way we live our lives, our habits, whatever it is, our work life, any part of our life gets us to a certain point, and then we are to let go and reach out for a healing hand, reach out for the hand of an angel, reach out for God, reach out for your higher self, however you want to think of it. But the letting go is the scary part. And in life, there's an in-between time, between the moment when we know we must let go and when we feel the power of the hand that we're reaching for, whatever that is. And so that in-between time can be a day or a week or a month or a year or however long it's going to feel. But we never know until we let go. I never know until I let go. Say that with me. I never know until I let go. And until we let go, we cannot ever reach the hand that's trying to save us. Ever. I would have drowned had I not been able to let go. And so, I finally, it's like, there comes a time where it's like you don't have a choice. You know? I mean, in life, we come to these moments and our soul dies. You know, we may live for a lot longer, but we sort of drowned in it. In that moment, I would have literally drowned. So finally, with my last bit of effort, my last bit of energy in my body, I went, "Ugh!" and I grabbed his hand. Now my brother is up to here in water, one hand holding me, his other hand holding a tire. This is the second miracle. Wow. Then he pulled us both up out of the water. He's not an Olympic gymnast. Somehow, he pulled, we talk about this to this day, we talk about this. How did you do that? What happened? Well, we'll get to that more in a little bit as we continue to celebrate the power of the hand. And so the hand is so magnificent, it's so amazing, it plays such a part of the development of our consciousness of our life. We're not really aware of it. But today, we're going to dive into it because it's this truly miraculous thing. But everything about our body, all of it is a miracle. And so it's just to love ourselves. Today the idea is to love ourselves more deeply through the power of our hands. We want to love ourselves. So I love my body. Say that with me. I love my body. Say it again. I love my body. You see, when we say we're created in the image and likeness of God, or spirit, of that energy, then we are that. Okay, so we're a drop in the ocean. Think of it as we're salt water, just like the ocean. If we don't love ourselves, we don't love the ocean. Right? So if we don't love ourselves, we're not loving the Holy Spirit. We're not loving God. So loving ourselves because we're a drop in that ocean is loving God. I am that. I am that. I am that. And so today, through the power of our hands, I hope that we leave here loving, cherishing, being in awe of who and what we are, more maybe than we ever have before. Because there are two things that exist. There's two things that separate us from all the life forms that we know. Can anybody name those two things? Yeah, say it. Consciousness. The brain. Okay, that's right. Well, it's our hand. That's it. It's the development of our brain and the development of our hand. That's it. The two things that separate us. But here's the thing. The two are so profoundly connected. I think you'll be amazed, as I was, as I did this research for today. Truly amazing. So, it's not the opposing thumb. A lot of times people think that, but monkeys and chimpanzees have an opposing thumb. What I'd like you all to do now is hold your hand up. Touch your thumb against your pinky. Now against your fourth finger, right there. Boom, right there. Okay, put your hand down. You just did the thing that separates us from all other life forms. Nothing else, chimpanzees or monkeys, cannot opposably move their thumb in this direction. And this motion has given us a kind of tool, a dexterity, to create what our mind envisions. You see what I'm saying? And it has been shown, I've read all about this, archaeology and everybody who studies evolution and all that, that the development of the hand actually is a reflection and developed our mind. That the use of our hand made synapses fire in our brain, which developed our brain. And as our brain developed, the dexterity of our hand began to grow, and the two began to create and create and create. So the evolution of our very being is from the hand. It's a chicken or the egg, which came first? The development, the higher consciousness, or the development of the hand, the dexterity of our hand. And so when you moved your hand this way, you moved 29 bones, 123 ligaments, 34 muscles, and approximately 60 arteries, just in moving one hand. Now listen to this. 1/4 of the motor cortex function of your brain, 1/4 of your brain, the motor cortex function, is dedicated to your hands. 1/4, which means 1/4 of your brain is dedicated to 1/50th of your body. That's how powerfully connected our mind is, our brain is, to our hands. They work in conjunction. Now, hand has become such a metaphor that we have all these different definitions of it. I just put a few of them down. Listen to this. Hand, to place into custody of somebody, is to put them in your hands. The ability to do something. One's ability is your ability to handle something. A hired laborer on a farm is called a hired hand. A member of a cruise ship is a hired hand. All hands on deck. A position given by its location is called its hand or its handle. A rotating pointer on the face of a timepiece is called a hand. A round of applause is to signify approval is a hand. And I think our hands are so magnificent they deserve a hand. Let's give our hands a hand. Come on, give it up for your hands. A unit of length equal to 4 inches used in measuring a horse is called a hand. One or two sides of an issue on the other hand. Physical assistance. Can I give you something written is often said hand. The cards held in a game given at any time is called their hand. Now I'm going to show you what I believe is the most amazing thing of all about the hand. Woohoo! Look what I can do with my hands. It's amazing. Most of us can hold our body weight with just our hands. Which is that like 50th part of our body, but the strength and the power of it to actually hang and hold our weight. It's amazing. Whoa. Okay, so
you practiced that, right?
I did. I almost fell the other day, and I thought that was funny. I think I'll do it. So here's the thing that's so cool about that, though. This is what's really magical about what I just did. So I'm basically holding myself up by my fingers, right? But what I found in my research, I never knew this. Our fingers have absolutely no muscles. Look at them move. How does this happen? There's no muscle in there whatsoever. So the hand is actually called the remote. They call it the remote of your mind. It's a remote control of your mind. Because as our brain sends electronic impulses to our hand, there's no muscle going there. So that's where the electronic impulses go. It's just hooked to ligaments. So the ligaments go up your fingers, and there's some muscles down here, but most of it's all down in your arm. And they connect to the ligaments and move your hand. There's no muscle there. So they're called the remote control of the brain. So they're kind of like a puppet to our brain. They move. The question is then, what are we moving with our brain? What are we puppeteering in our lives? So all this hubbub about the hand goes even deeper. Sir Isaac Newton, considered truly to be one of the greatest geniuses who ever lived, top 10 brilliant people who ever lived, Isaac Newton said this: in the absence of any other proof, the thumb alone would convince me of God's existence. Jacob Bronowski, who's one of the most brilliant people who ever lived in the 1900s, was a mathematician, biologist, historian, scientist, theatrical author, poet, and inventor, said this: the hand is the cutting edge of the mind. Robert Marcusson, who's one of the world's leading hand surgeons said this. The hand, and this is a surgeon scientist. He's worked with hands so much, he believes this and says this. The hand is the lightning bolt of the soul. The hand is the lightning bolt or the lightning rod of the soul. So everybody take your hands, put your drink down. Everybody take your hands, rub them together. You knew this was coming. Rub them together. We're going to rub them for like 20 seconds. Now, if you're, now, stop. Now, go like this. If you're like me, you can feel it like you're packing a snowball. Can you feel that? It's electrical impulses. There's power moving from your hands. Just go like this. You can feel, I can. How many of you can feel that? Can you feel that? I can feel it a lot when I do it. Just power moving from your hands. So think about now think, the lightning rod of the soul, okay? Think about all the miracle workers that we've ever heard of in our life. Ever. From Jesus all the way through history. Where is the miracle coming from? Every time. The touch of the hand, through the power of the hand. And now this doctor is calling them the lightning rod, the lightning bolt of the soul. The energy, the chi of our being moves outward in our hand. We can control the energy to move through our hands. Why? Because 1/4 of our brain is dedicated to it. So we can move our chi, that subtle energy, through the power of our hands. Now there's so many wonderful sayings that we use metaphorically and literally with our hands. One of them is this: idle hands are the devil's workshop. Which is a very interesting saying. What does that mean? Well, it simply means that there's so many ways to think about it, but when we're not consciously giving our hands something to do that lifts the spirit, that moves us in the direction of our vision, idleness starts to move in. And we just start to do things unconsciously, like my New Day story, right? We forget. We forget. As I said last time we were together, that January is like the puppy dog month. It's all exciting. Because it's a new year. Let's play fetch. We can do anything. 12 free new months to become, be, do, and have all that I ever wanted to do. So exciting. But then February comes, and it's like, the old dog behind the shed. Just get me some water, and get me some food. I'll take a nap. Maybe go for a walk later. If that's February, then what's March? March has the potential, when it comes to moving in the direction of our vision, to become what I think of as the sloth month. It just barely moves. There's my train over there. I've actually been in the presence of a sloth. It's quite something to behold. They're amazing. But it doesn't have to be that way, because the future is in our hands. And we're in good hands. All we need to do is trust a little bit and get bold. Remember, we're playing with this statement from Goethe. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. And magic in it. So we get bold. So let's take a moment just to think about what happened with my brother and use it as a metaphor. It was pretty bold of him to get into the water, wasn't it? Up to about here on his body. But what happened next, as Goethe said, power and magic. When we get bold, when we trust, when we move forward, when we let go and are willing to trust, then something magic happened. Providence moved. Remember what Goethe said, when we boldly move, then providence moves with us. What is providence defined as? Providence is defined as the caring aspect of God or nature. That he said, unforeseen events and meetings will occur that you never could have imagined to support you as you begin to step out with boldness. So there's my brother in the water, right? Reaching for this tire. Now, how did it move to his hand? Remember, the providence is defined as the caring aspect of God or nature. So there might have been, who knows what happened? Maybe the wind blew. Maybe the water moved more swiftly. But who made the wind blow? What's providence? The caring aspect of nature. Who made the water move more swiftly? We don't know what happened. And then, taking my hand and the tire and pulling us both up. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So that providence moving. And what I'm asking all of us today is, where are you ready to get bold? Because it takes our boldness to enact providence. The universe is waiting for us, is waiting. Hey, are you in or not? Goethe said the one thing that's missing is commitment. That once we're truly committed to something, that without commitment, all kinds of failures, things fall apart. But when we're committed, boldness, then that genius moves, then that power moves, then that essence moves, then providence comes into play. Once we make that commitment, once we move in that direction, once we get bold. So the question is, where are all of us willing to get bold? Where are we ready to step in with our soul and follow our dream? Because our hand gives us direct feedback. When we're going to get bold, it's going to start with our hands. All creation begins with our hands. What our hands does, it gives us direct feedback. We often say thoughts create reality, right? It's true. Our thoughts do create reality, but the difficult thing with our thoughts is they're hard to get a grip on. But we see what our hands are doing. And when we see what our hands are doing, it's like telling us what our thoughts are. Remember the statement, idle hands are the devil's workshop. Well, what does that mean? Okay, I often talk about what I call the tchotchke campaign. We are constantly given information every day that we don't even agree with, we don't know where it's coming from, it's just going into our subconscious mind. So when our hands become idle, the subconscious mind, which has been fed a lot of information we don't agree with, our hands just start doing. Right? Grabbing those potato chips, whatever it is. But we can see our thoughts with our hands. And if we can bring new awareness to what our hands are doing, it's direct feedback to what we're thinking. Change the movement, change your thinking, change your life, change your mind, change what your hands are doing. Oh yeah, we'll change your thinking. We'll change the motion of your life. It's a chicken or the egg, which comes first? Our hands are direct feedback. They give us the information. They're a reflection of our thoughts. So I got bold with my hands. I got really bold a couple weeks ago. As most of you know, we created a mastermind group here called the Visionaries. And it's really exciting what is happening. Providence is moving. Amazing things are happening. If you want to be a part of a mastermind group to the 10th power, you're welcome to become a part of this. So we're working on a lot of different things. And the first thing we do is support each other in, well, being aware of what we do with our hands, in our personal life, in our vision, in our dreams, and how we want our life to be, supporting each other in being that. And secondly, the idea is to reach out to the world and give information that transforms lives. You know the old saying, give a person a fish to eat for the day, teach them the fish to eat for a lifetime. I've always believed that information is power. The number one thing we can do is give information. In other words, you can give someone forgiveness and they feel that for the moment, or you can teach forgiveness and they feel it for a lifetime. If you're patient with somebody, they feel your patience for a moment, but teach patience, then they feel that for a lifetime. And so part of the Visionaries is we've created a production company called Tipping Point Productions. The idea is that in the world today, it's kind of this tipping point, and that we just need to give it a little push toward healing and forgiveness and acceptance and love. And so creating viral videos and using different things to get this information out to the world is the idea of Tipping Point Productions. Now, I could have never imagined a year ago when I first came up with this idea, for the life of me, that Google would turn around a year later and give us $120,000 worth of free advertising time on Google to give our message, to sell our product. What is our product? Love. We're giving it away. And acceptance and forgiveness and questioning the status quo. I could have never imagined it, but Providence moved and created this opportunity. And so in our last gathering, we talked about the idea of working with other groups that are also part of the tipping point and supporting them, because we're stronger together than we are alone. So we're talking about this very idea, and I get in my car after the meeting, I turn on the radio, and there's an advertisement for this group called Solve. I love it. They're solving problems. They're the ones who organize the cleanup of the beach. You ever heard about the cleanup of the beach? They organize that and all these cleanups in parks and all kinds of things. So I heard that on the radio, and boom, instantly in my mind, I got excited, and I started to see the people doing this, and I felt it in my mind. And so what did I do? I took that energy, and I allowed it to begin to move through my hands. Everything moves through the hands. So I got home, and I sat down at the piano, and I started to play as I was thinking about using the hands and what I was hearing on the radio, and this is what came out. came into existence through my hands, from my mind through my hands. Then after that, I used my hands to write an email to the CEO of Solve. And I told her who we are, and all of a sudden, okay, we had a meeting. And then we set up a meeting. I met with the CEO of Solve and all of their employees. And Laura Henneke, you were there. Laura came with me. It was amazing. We sat down with this group of people, told them who we were about, and they were excited. And then I said, man, also I wrote a song that was kind of inspired by you guys. And they were like, really? I said, yeah, it's kind of inspired by you guys. Can we hear it? And I was like, well, it's in my iPhone. Can we plug it in and play it on these little speakers? And I hate that. My ego hates that. Little speakers. We're going to hear you. So I started. I want booming speakers. Yes. These little speakers. So we plug in my iPhone, play this on. I was like, however, you can feel the energy and the power of it and everything, even through the little speakers. And they were blown away by this whole thing. So we had this amazing meeting, and they were so excited they couldn't believe it. And they have a contract with Plain Television to do all their coverage and everything. So the one conflict we may have with them is their contract with KOI TV to work with them. So I don't know if this is going to happen, but it's Providence moving. They're excited. Everything was exciting. It's just incredible. So we may use this song to create something with them or not, but whatever. But anyway, Holy Moly's, let's come up and let's play the song that we played, but not on the tinny little speakers. See if you can keep up with this. It's difficult and amazing. City, thinking to myself, what a pity, as a Hummer drove by filled with teens, throwing trash out the window, bunch of random things. Then an old man with an old knotted cane, even though his hands could feel the strain, he slowly bent down to pick up the trash, as the city bus blowing smoke went past, and his hands were as knotted as his cane. He said, son, it's not in vain. He said, we got a problem we can't solve. The human race will evolve. If every one of us would just pick up one aluminum can, one bottle of glass, one paper or plastic bag, a cigarette butt, a burned out match, a discarded pair of shoes or a broken down sack, a rubber tire, or an old flip phone, a misplaced 4-inch construction code. A Barbie doll may have lost her head, a rusty old springs from a burned out bed. Yeah, there's a lot of junk spread across the land, but it's not so bad when you do the math. We got 14 billion, 14 billion, 14 billion hands. And he said, if you could see a world so clean, the water, air, and the grass is pristine, so the children can play on their hands and knees, and all the fish are mercury. And children read about things like acid rain, and they wonder how we never could have been so insane. And the ozone layer protects us from the rays, so it's always safe to run naked on sunny days. Okay, I know we're not quite there. We might have to do a little more than your share. Some of us, we got to pick up the slack, cause some don't yet understand the impact. We got a problem we can solve. The human race will evolve. One day every one of us will pick up one aerosol can, a rubber band, and the band was stock Volkswagen van, a cardboard box, knee-high socks, a doll bit razor, a stupid squash, a hypodermic needle, or a syringe, a little cotton rubber glove over your hands, a cross-state rubber, a Starbucks cap, a vacuum eating time, a fold-out map. Yeah, there's a lot of junk spread across the land, but it's not so bad when you do the math. We got 14 billion, 14 billion, 14 billion, and yeah, a million years ago, it evolved. Quiz. So Michael Bridge said this: when our eyes see our hands doing the work of our hearts, the circle of creation will be complete. When our eyes see our hands doing the work of our hearts, the circle of creation will be complete. And so let's move into a meditation time. And take a deep breath. I give my hands to do the work of my soul, of my soul. I give my hands to do the work of my soul. I'm ready. I'm ready. So time is on our hands. How we use our hands in time will create our life. The paradox is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. The purpose of the life is to make our human experience resonate with our soul, with our spiritual being. The truth is we are perfect and whole right now, and yet the truth is we are not always reflecting that truth in the action of our hands. These are God's hands, in the physical plane. Are we treating the work of our hands with that consciousness? Honestly, look at your life right now for a moment. What part of your life isn't working? Where is it time to let go? Like me in the river, holding to that metal lath. And so, right now, put your hands in a fist, clench them together with a kind of medium tightness. And think about what it is you need to let go of. Feel that in your heart. Don't be in denial, don't run away from it. Feel the divine discontent. Feel the pain maybe that it's causing as you clench your hands together. Hold them tightly now. Could be anything, as we said, from a trait that you wish to let go of, or a situation in your life. Feel this thing you wish to let go of. And on the count of 3, I'm going to say let go. And when I do, unclench your fists and feel whatever it is that you're ready to drop, fall away. 1, 2, 3, let go. Feel that release now. And as you do, you feel lighter and more free. And you say with me, I wash my hands of a lot of it together. I wash my hands of a lot of it. Now let's move through the timeline. Fast forward, January, February are gone. We move spiritually through March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January of 2016. Something's different now. There's a light emanating from you. There's a lightness, there's a joy, because that which had been holding you back has been healed. You let go of it. Your hands are especially light. You've actually done new things with your hands, which has created your mind freeness. What have you done differently with your hands that has created this lightness? Have you created something new that your soul has been longing for? We are always in creation. Bringing consciousness to this fact makes us masters. See the light emanating from your body, from your hands, the lightning rod of your soul. What you feel and see in your mind and your imagination is no stretch of the imagination. But the truth is, destiny is in your hands. You will reach this place of lightness. You will become this being free. It's just a matter of when. The curriculum is not optional, only when you choose to learn the lesson. I say, let's get on with it now. Let's be the future being now. If you're ready to experience this greater joy, this lightness, and would like some help becoming that being, I invite you to say with me a name that represents the power of the Holy Spirit to you. I don't care what name you choose to use. Any name will do. Any concept. It could be Holy Spirit. It could be an angel. It could be Jesus or Buddha. Mother Teresa. It could be Gandhi. It's all in your hands. So with sincerity and conviction now, on the count of 3, we fill this room with this awareness, the presence of this being that represents this higher consciousness. 1, 2, 3. Together. Now, feeling the presence of this one that you have spoken, that you have thought of, say to their essence, with me, lay your hands on me. Together, lay your hands on me. I'm ready to be healed of the patterns of my thought. Together, I'm ready to be healed of the patterns of my thoughts. I allow my hands to align with my heart. Together, I allow my hands to align with my heart. Lay your hands on me. Together, lay your hands on me. I'm here to do thy will. Together, I'm here to do thy will. For thy will is my will. Together, for thy will is my will. For these are God's hands. Together, for these are God's hands. I give my hands to do the work of my soul. Together, I give my hands to do the work of my soul. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I'm ready now. So in this consciousness that we are in now, many of you may have seen a pen on your seat. There's pens around. So I'm going to invite you to make a dot on your hand that represents the thing you wish to let go of. The back of your hand, the front of your hand, or you can write GH, God's hand, which is what I have written. So whatever it is you want to let go of, you can do a dot on the front of your hand, the back of your hand, or the newness that you wish to use your hands in. It could be a dot or GH, God's hand. So as soon as you have made a dot, pass the pen behind you or the person next to you. There it is. There's one coming up. Now these will wash off really fast. I did it yesterday with a permanent marker, and it was gone this morning. So I just did it again. I wrote GH, God's hand. But the idea is that it won't wash off of your awareness just so quickly, your heart and your soul. So GH, or just a dot. So every time you see it, for the last 24 hours, I was constantly aware, because I kept looking at, oh yeah, this is God's hand. What am I doing with my hand? So to make that completion, it's so obvious, it's so clear. Anything we want to change begins with our hand and that connection to our mind. If we were a smoker and wanted to stop smoking, or let's say we want to eat healthier food or drink less alcohol, whatever it is, it can't get into your body unless it comes through your hand. You know what I'm saying? Your hand is the gateway to your body. So the more aware we become of what we're doing with our hands, we will clearly, oh wait, this is God's hand. Am I doing the thing that God would have me do, or am I not? When we are our thumbs, this evidence of God, are our thumbs doing a little too much remote control, or are they controlling the Stairmaster? This is the evidence of God, so we want to be aware that when we're purchasing something, we're reaching it, that comes through our hands, our credit card, our money, all of it goes through our hands. What are we using that for? Are we creating something? Do we see in that future being creation, something we wish to create? It's going to come through your hands, no doubt about it. As we navigate a mouse on the internet, are we moving in direction of ideas and thoughts that are part of our dream or vision or soul, or are we getting caught in a mouse trap with the idle hands? When we're thumbing through something, a magazine or a book, are we thumbing through something that raises the consciousness of our mind? And so as you may have noticed, there's a lot of images around. This is a very famous image. There. A very famous image of hands. And here's a story about that image. Back in the 15th century, in a tiny village near Nuremberg, lived a family with 18 children.
Wow.
18!
That's a village.
That's a village. In order to really keep food on the table for this mob, the father, the head of the household, a goldsmith by profession, worked almost 18-hour days in his trade as a goldsmith at the time. Despite their seemingly hopeless condition, two of the elders' children had a dream. They both wanted to pursue their talent for art, but they knew very well that their father would never financially be able to send them to Nuremberg to study at the academy. After many long discussions, at night in their crowded bed, the two boys finally worked out a pact. They would toss a coin. The loser would go down into the nearby mines and with his earnings would support his brother while he attended the academy. Then, when the brother who won the coin toss completed his studies in 4 years, he would support the other brother in going to the academy, either with the sales of his artwork or, if necessary, in the mines. They tossed the coin on a Sunday morning after church, and Albrecht Dürer won the toss and went to Nuremberg. Albert, it was Albrecht and Albert. Albert, his brother, then went down into the dangerous mines for the next 4 years and financed his brother, who worked at the academy. And his work was a sensation. Albrecht's etchings, his woodcuts and his oils, were far better than his professors. And by the time he graduated, he was beginning to earn considerable fees for his commissioned works. When the young artist returned to his village, the Dürer family held a festive dinner on their lawn to celebrate Albrecht's triumphant homecoming. After a long and memorable meal, punctuated with music and laughter, Albrecht rose from his honored position at the head of the table to drink a toast to his beloved brother for the years of sacrifice that he had enabled Albrecht to fulfill his ambition. His closing words were, "And now, Albert, blessed brother of mine, now it is your turn. Now you can go to Nuremberg to pursue your dreams, and I will take care of you." All heads turned in eager expectation to the far end of the table where Albert sat, tears streaming down his pale face, shaking his lowered head from side to side, while he sobbed and repeated, "No, no." Finally, Albert rose and wiped the tears, and he glanced down the long table and said, holding his hands close to his right cheek, "I cannot go to Nuremberg. For me, it is too late. Look at my hands. Look what 4 years have done in the mines. The bones in every finger have been smashed. And lately there is pain. I can hardly lift the glass to return your toast, much less make delicate lines on parchment or canvas with a pen or brush. No, brother, it's too late for me." More than 450 years have passed. By now, Albrecht Dürer's hundreds of masterful portraits, pen and silver point sketches, watercolors, charcoals, woodcuts, and copper engravings hang in almost every great museum in the world. But the odds are great that you, like most people, are familiar with only one of Albrecht Dürer's works. More than merely being familiar with it, it may hang in your home. One day, to pay homage to Albert for all that he did to sacrifice, Albrecht Dürer painstakingly drew his brother's abused hands, with palms together and his thin fingers stretched skyward. He called his powerful drawing simply "Hands." But the entire world almost immediately opened their hearts to this great masterpiece and renamed it this tribute of love the praying hands. And so, my brother reached out for me, took my hand, and somehow pulled us to safety. And I'll never forget how completely exhausted I was. I had nothing left. I tried to stand, and I couldn't. I fell into the water over my head again, just in that 2 feet of water. And my brother had to carry me home. He carried me home. And what I'm saying to all of us today is, where it is that you need to let go of, the Holy Spirit, God, the presence of you will carry you home. But get bold. Get bold. So providence can move. Commit. Whatever you're doing in your life, you have the physical manifestation of the Holy Spirit, the energy of the chi, of the power. Your hands are God's hands. God's hands. Treat them as such and watch your life transform. Bless you, my friends. Give me a hand. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, yeah, coming up over please. So this is the time we use our hands to give and to support what we've experienced today and what we're building here as coexist, as energy and a movement to create healing, raise consciousness on the planet. So as you hold your gift in your hands, you are holding your gift in your hands. Think about the magic, the power of your hands, and all that you can do. Think about what it is you do or have done to create this energy in the form of this monetary system. It was something with your hands, I guarantee it. You've done something with your hands that has brought this energy to you, and so now with your hands we give it and we move it forward in the direction of creating love, and acceptance, and peace, and a greater knowing. We are all God's hands. And so for our hands and the ability to use them to be an instrument for God, to be this joyful expression through our hands, we say together, I am so grateful together. I am so grateful. I love my hands together. I love my hands. And they love me. And they love me. I give my hand to do the work. To the work of my soul. I give my hand to the work of my soul. I'm ready now. I'm ready. So it is.